I'd like to introduce Hattie Brown, Executive Director of CooleyCap, to present the Outstanding Friend of Community Action Award. The Outstanding Friend of Community Action Award is given in recognition of an individual or group outside of the CAA network whose actions have promoted or enhanced the efforts or services of community action.
Thank you, George. And you do know me well that I like to talk, especially when it's to promote such an amazing friend to community action like Michele Engh. Michele has been a tireless advocate to end poverty for many years. She actually worked for CooleyCap from 2007 to 2014, but even after she left the organization, she continued to take the fight forward through a number of her roles with county government, working on behalf of nonprofit agencies, and in her current role as pastor for Immanual Lutheran Church in Vernon County. She continues this fight and help us achieve our mission by also serving now on the CooleyCap Board of Directors. And CooleyCap always looks for opportunity, Michele always looks for opportunity to help CooleyCap serve our clients better. Most recently, she's went into action to advocate and support and raise resources to help us in our COVID-19 response effort. So for example, she organized a donation drive at her church to help us provide resources to local immigrant families. And Michele and I are continuing the conversation, and she's coordinating that conversation with the faith-based community to see how we can continue those efforts moving forward. But those are recent examples. I think what makes Michele such an amazing friend to community action is that she works on long-term, broad-reaching solutions for our community to address poverty. And I'd like to give a couple of examples. The first has to do with rural child care. While participating in meetings with public stakeholders, Michele saw an opportunity to address childcare needs in rural Wisconsin. She led a collaborative effort with a local group known as Kickapoo Conversations to study the problem, conduct focus groups, gather data, and test models that could bring new resources to the community. And she specifically focused on creating a system that could expand licensed child care providers in rural communities, knowing that families with low income could not access state subsidies unless they could have access to licensed child care facilities. But she also helped all of us understand the unique barriers that exist in rural communities, such as the time it takes to drive between work to child care facilities to home. And so centralized child care facilities don't always work in rural communities because of this reason. So she reached out and used her relationship with the Wisconsin Early Childhood Association to create a brand new, never before seen, innovative solution known as the Wisconsin Early Education Shared Services Network, which is a cooperative style membership group inviting child care providers to participate to receive benefits such as bulk purchasing, support during illness or time away, shared education and software programs. And by using this cooperative model, she could make child care more affordable, not only for the providers, but for parents, and build the network stronger. And since it launched in 2018, now most child care facilities across 2 of our rural counties are signed up a part of this network. Michele has also worked really hard to transform how our community here responds to natural disasters. She was a founding member of the Long-Term Recovery Group in 2007 and then resurrected that group after the devastating floods of 2018. And after those floods, Michele approached CooleyCap and encouraged us to participate in a program called Project Recovery, which was a program that had been run in this area before, years ago after disasters, but CooleyCap had never organized or participated in that program. Still, she set up teleconferences with state partners and really helped us feel confident that we could deliver those services. Later, she also negotiated for CooleyCap to provide recovery services in partnership with the Long-Term Recovery Group so that we could even do even more. She even went out in the field and trained our case managers on how to do damage inspection and prepare proposals for the Long-Term Recovery Group. So she is really hands-on. Since since her advocacy and pulling us into this work, CooleyCap has assisted over 11,000 residents with crisis counseling and emotional support and distributed over $100,000 in funds to help people and businesses recover from disasters. So these are just a couple of examples of how Michele has truly been a friend to community action to address poverty, and we congratulate Michele today.
Thank you, Hetty. And I also want to thank the board of directors, the employees of CooleyCap and WisCap for this honor. I am truly honored and humbled by this award. As a board member of CooleyCap, I represent the faith-based community as a special interest group. It may seem a bit odd to have the faith-based community reflected as a director, and yet we work for the same cause. As part of the Christian faith, I am called to feed the hungry, clothe the naked, welcome the homeless, and see beyond society's norms to the marginalized, the disenfranchised, the unseen. Sound familiar? That is the mission of CooleyCap, WisCap, and the Christian faith I walk as an ELCA minister. CooleyCap intentionally walks with those that society sees as other by empowering people to reach their full potential, promotes social and economic justice, serve as a catalyst of change, and strengthen our families and communities. WisCap is founded on the principle that bringing about economic self-sufficiency for the state's low-income households should be a coordinated endeavor, including strengthening policy and advocacy efforts. The vision of CooleyCap and the principle of WisCap aligns with the gospel values that guide my mission. CooleyCap sees the needs of those without a voice, and they act. A recent example is, as Hetty mentioned, the immigrant population in COVID. Even though CooleyCap did not have a specific source of funding for this effort, they reached out, they partnered with others, including my congregation. The store shelves in our local community of Viroqua were bare of diapers as my congregation acted immediately to address a need that they were previously unaware of. Beyond addressing the immediate needs, CooleyCap helps the homeless with supports to overcome the reasons they are homeless. They educate the first-time home buyer, not only in how to become a successful homeowner, but they provide the assistance to make that dream come true. Their weatherization teams help homeowners decrease their energy costs by providing energy-saving measures to homes. This is a basic principle. Decrease the expenses to increase the funds available. If you aren't paying for those high energy bills, you can afford your medication, your food, your gas. You have the extra income to impact the economy, and you are comfortable. This is community action at its best. As a previous employee of CooleyCap, I was proud to work in flood recovery, including the Gays Mills relocation and other projects that assisted families and communities devastated by flooding. My experience at CooleyCap fostered my vocation into called ministry as much as my church and family did. They took the gospel values I believe in and act out of and put into practice, mobilizing funds and partnerships in a way that I can't. Your advocacy for change is powerful. You leverage relationships and partnerships across many sectors to successfully advocate for change. By partnering with organizations such as CooleyCap, our church has a larger voice. Legislative changes create permanent change. Thank you for being a voice for those who have no voice. Today, in an op-ed piece published in the New York Times, Joe Lewis repeated something he has said before. Ordinary people with extraordinary vision can redeem the soul of America by getting in what I call good trouble. I pair this, my favorite quote, from the first African-American female senator, Shirley Chisholm. Service is the rent we pay for the privilege of living on this earth. It is the very purpose of life and not something you do in your spare time. I am honored to be a friend of CooleyCap. I'm honored to be a voice of advocacy. and I'm honored to work and partner with you. Thank you for your mission to get us into good trouble and paying the rent for the privilege of living on this planet, which sometimes means paying the rent to a landlord. Again, thank you. I am truly honored.